Hello, friends. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Greetings to all of you. It is a pleasure to have all of you for the next episode of From Ordinary to Extraordinary. We have our guest today, Radhika Jain. Radhika is a CFA charter holder and wears different hats and being in the financial service sector. So today we are going to listen to her story. I will give a quick introduction and I will then pass on the baton to Radhika to share some of her activities and interests so that we know the person and the background better. So I will just give a quick snapshot of Radhika. As I mentioned, she is currently partner BeyondSeed in the Middle East. She's also the partner and CEO of ArclinksAI, head of international and HNI businesses in the Infin Hub, uh, previously with Emirates Islamic Bank as VP and head of wealth products, and many more experience. I'm not going to that deeper. So Radhika, how will you explain what you do to our audience? Over to you.
Good afternoon, Phoebe, and thank you for having me here today. Welcome to all your guests as well. It's my pleasure. My career of 20 years, I typically say that I've been a wealth management professional. I started my journey in Bombay with ICICI in private banking, products, and advisory. I carried on that skill when I went to US and then when I came to Dubai with Emirates Islamic Bank. Last 3-4 years, I've actually been building my own enterprises. So I have a wealth management and an advisory firm here in UAE with a couple of partners, where we advise high net worth clients and institutional clients like family offices on their investment needs. And earlier this year, I have joined hands with BeyondSeed, a venture capital startup investing and advisory firm out of Singapore, and we are together setting up the Middle East footprint for them. So that's how I would summarize my 20 years of experience: wealth management, investments, advisory, as well as now the startup world in this
Yeah,
region.
thank you for that. So I just want to go back to the very beginning of the your career. So what was some of the influences which took you to the financial service sector? Do you, when you reflect back, what are some of the key pivot points which might have led to that decision?
That's very interesting, Phoebe. One thing I've realized is as we go further in life, we look back and start rationalizing, post rationalizing a lot of things. So if you ask me why I'm in finance, I would give things like I'm good with maths, I'm logical thinker, I can work with analytical stuff very well. So that's why finance is a good career for me. All of this is true, but this is why I do well in anything which is financial services related. But how I got into the industry is actually a very interesting story. When I was finishing my MBA and going through the placement season, so I went through 2 years of my MBA planning to go into a completely different line. And that's how I took my courses and did my, the CV planning, as we call it, what course you take, what kind of things make you shortlist worthy in different industries. But while I was during those placement days, something happened, and even though I was the top shortlist in a lot of the companies of my choice, I had a personal issue. I basically had a laryngitis attack on the day on all my interviews were supposed to happen, which means I could not appear for the interviews. So I had to basically skip out of every company's interview that was my dream companies. And that's that. So the next best option was to go into as a top student in your university, right? You go top down. So if I couldn't go into thing of my choice, the next best was to go for finance, world of finance. So that's how I ended up. But that was a very good fortune, I would say, because once I got in, I realized that this is my skill set, this is my natural affinity, and I'm good at it. I like doing it. You have this ikigai concept. If you like doing something, somebody will pay you for it, the world needs it, then you're happy. So I found my ikigai by accident, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, Ikigai is a Japanese concept. So I just like to know how you came across that concept. What was the story behind that?
So I read vociferously. I try and read anything and everything I can get my hands on. So it's one of those ikigai book. If you look at it, it has a beautiful cover. So passing through one of the airport's terminals one day, I just picked it up, and the message, the key message, just really stayed with me. And during our management days and our early days, we were exposed to a lot of these Japanese efficiency tools, things like Kanban, things like Six Sigma, planning. So there's always that basic comfort level about the concepts that come out of Japanese thinking and way of life. So, and when I saw Ikigai, beautiful looking book, I picked it up. It wasn't very thick as well, always helps. So I picked it up, and yeah, I think the message is beautiful. And if all of us can just look at that Venn diagram and just try and measure some of our daily lives based on that, it's really helpful.
Yeah. So is it possible to share one or two of those aspects to our audience for their
Mhm.
guidance, if you can?
Right. You mean the Ikigai concept?
Yeah.
Right. So what it says is basically finding your purpose. What
Mm.
is your key purpose, and what gives you, centers you, and gives meaning to your everyday existence, so to speak. What gets you excited to get out of bed every day in the morning? And then it talks about how do you know that you have found, you are in that place. So if you Google up, you'll see a very simple four win circle image, which says that you should be able to identify what you are good at. So something that all of us have something that we're naturally good at. So for some people it could be art and creating paintings, or for some people it could be music. For some people it could be being good at analytical and logical stuff. All of us are different. So knowing what you are naturally good at. Then second is, do you like doing that?
Mm.
So
Mm.
one is I'm good at it, and I also like doing it. It gives me satisfaction. It gives me a flow state, a state in which I lose track of time, and I'm just so involved in it. So that's second. The third is it monetizable? Will somebody pay you for it? Right? Is it a skill that you can live on? That's also important in practical
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's also that, then the fourth thing is, it's something that the world needs at large. So that makes it not just your purpose, but a bigger service, and an offering that you can do for a purpose which is bigger than yourself, which interestingly also leads back to your own satisfaction at what you are doing. So if you can find something that puts all these things together, then you've found your ikigai in life.
Thank
And
you.
you see this, yeah, and you see when you're interacting with people, like when I talk to a lot of startup founders these days, and these are typically the people who are following their passion, who have taken the risk, not gone the traditional way of taking a job, going through a corporate ladder. They're following their passion, and in some of them you can actually see that brightness come out, when you're absolutely aligned with what you are doing, and finding satisfaction in that passion just gives you the energy to keep going it day after day, because it's not an easy journey. Yeah, nothing in life worth having comes easy. Right?
Yeah.
So there are different kinds of struggles, different kind of challenges that you face, and when you are facing those challenges, that's when you need this conviction, sense of conviction that comes from inside, that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'll handle the challenge and move on.
Thank you, Radhika, for sharing that. So, yeah, so you brought a lot of interesting lessons, which again changes from ordinary to extraordinary, the theme which we have given, and we all can find that, and that is something which you are also bringing through that message. So, I'm just coming back. So, in your journey, You mentioned one was with regard to the placement season one. Now, may I check in? What are other pivotal moments which you might have, when you look back, you think that was challenging for me, and that pushed me to strive further for something different? So, is there any memories or stories which you like to share with our audience?
There are a lot of interesting challenges that you go through, and like I said, when you look back and see your life, then you can make out the graph. While you are going through it, you don't realize it.
Yes.
So it's a lot of pivotal points. So, for example, when I was just passing out of school as well, high school, I wanted to get into certain specific college in Delhi University, right? And I did not appear for my exams in perfect health. So therefore, I didn't have the marks that I needed for that. And these are super selective and super competitive colleges. So I did not get the course that I really wanted. What I had always pinned my hope on. But what then that propelled me to do was use the next 1 month to prepare for a competitive exam, which took me to a better college, which was not
Mm-hmm.
on my radar because I was satisfied with something which I was aiming for. But because I didn't
Yeah.
get here, I put in more effort and went for the next level. So that
Yeah.
was again, very interesting. That 1.5 month that I realized that I'm going through a challenge. If I don't do this, then I'll not get anywhere. So that was, and that sort of changed the direction of my future, my career, because I got into a very professionally focused uh, career, college. Your studies change, your peer group changes, the way you approach the idea of finance and career, etc., changes compared to if I had gone into the other course of study. So that absolutely definitely changed, was a big milestone. A more recent one would be when, and you've seen me before and after that, is when I was with the bank and without after I left the bank. So I've been in a very large corporates, I've worked with large banks, and they have a certain ecosystem, they have a certain infrastructure and platform that you operate from, so you're in a very different position to make changes, to deliver on what you're supposed to do. When I left my cushy job, comfortable job at the bank, it was not easy, but it's in the last few years it's taught me so much that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to get exposed to otherwise. And it's completely changed again the direction. I mean, if I continued in a, working in a bank, I would have gone up the corporate ladder in this organization or another organization. But I wouldn't be in a place where I'm talking to, so many exciting people every day, learning about their journey, contributing to their dreams and their goals as well. So again, a very pivotal moment. And if I look back, I don't think I'll be, I would want to go back. I would change anything. So lots of these things. But I think my learning from these kind of experiences is that when you're going through these things, just keep pushing through. Things will
Mm.
make sense. Eventually, you will look back and they will make sense. While you're going through these things, they might be painful, they might seem challenging, but just push through one day at a time and everything will fall in its place.
I'm just again to audience. I interacted with Radhika for a program on Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments. It was a training where we interacted, and so I think that interaction led to a lot of other interactions. So thank you, Radhika. And I just want to explore. Your transition from India to UAE. What was that? And how did that opportunity opened up for you?
Okay, again, very interestingly, serendipitous instances for me. In fact, between India and UAE, I was actually in US for a couple of years. And then I was thinking about coming back from US more to Eastern Hemisphere. So that's when I was exploring either Bombay or Dubai or Singapore. These are the typical financial centers that you look at. I happened to be in Dubai for a personal vacation. I was applying for jobs in India, in Singapore, as well as in Dubai. So I had applied to Emirates Islamic. And very interestingly, I had connected with the hiring manager on LinkedIn. So I had learned the art of networking when I was in US. So I used LinkedIn to reach out to him. He was a second degree contact through somebody. He was kind enough to respond, and I was lucky that he was the hiring manager for the post that I was applying for. So then I was traveling to Dubai. I came for holiday, but then when I informed him that I'm in Dubai, if he wants an interview in person, we can do that. So that happened, and I was joining at a medium to senior management position, and but that said, I had the offer letter within one day. So when things have to happen, they happen. And I was trying for a lot of opportunities in for a long time in India and Dubai and Singapore, but this one just happened. And I have family here. I've had family in Dubai, so it was an easy decision for me to take compared to living in a different city. So then I just took the opportunity. And like
Mm.
I said, just living forward, living one step at a time. This was the opportunity that was presented to me and looked great. When I look back again, that decision 11 years back makes complete sense. It was one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah, so I just want to ponder a bit deeper on that networking opportunity. So, sometimes that ordinary to extraordinary journey is all about connecting with people and
Yeah.
asking often, which sometimes people are hesitant to do. So, is there any instances or stories which you can share on that part on networking?
Hmm. No, absolutely. So this is definitely one of the most successful instances of networking helping me in my career. But I think the value of being out there and connecting to people without agenda,
Yeah.
without instant agenda, is really not appreciated enough. Yeah, we are very busy in our jobs, in doing the activities that we are doing, that we sometimes don't realize that we can't do it all ourselves. At different points of time, we need help from people in different arenas, different segments of the world. So it takes time, it takes conscious effort, but it absolutely is something that we should invest time and energy in. So this was the job I got in MS Islamic is one example. Similarly, when I was in US, I was networking, very actively with the CFA society there, with my alumni, MBA alumni groups there, which was helping me understand how the industry works there, which was completely new platform for me. I had not worked in US before. So
Mm.
meeting with the people, talking to them. Sometimes it's something as simple as, "Hi, I like your profile. Can I meet you for coffee?" So it's and one thing I very very good experience I had in US was people normally say yes. That was something very different. Maybe it's a cultural difference, but that was something very different from what was my experience in, let's say, India, where I started my career. So that's where I started appreciating the benefits and the advantage of that. So I was on the receiving end of it because I was getting the benefit of people taking out time. But then I could see the I could appreciate senior people really taking out time just to meet with me for coffee for with no agenda. Yeah.
Mm.
And because of that, I have I have a network of people that I can reach out to, and specialists in different verticals in different regions whenever I need some advice on an area where I'm not an expert. Right.
Mm.
By having access to that other expert, I have essentially expanded my area of expertise. So I think we need to all work together in sync in appreciating what we can contribute to others, and not just in terms of how I can use the network. So I think it's one of those places where you pay it forward. You first do something for somebody else, and then the network starts working for you as well.
So, if I ask you, is there experiences of mentors who might have given you advices at various stages? And if you remember, what are some of these advices still resonating with you as you journey ahead?
No, very interesting question, Phoebe. I count a lot of people as my mentors. Not all of them know that I think of them as my mentors. It's not a formal mentor-mentee relationship, but in different points of time, I have been fortunate enough to work with people who have helped me in directly or indirectly to appreciate what I'm learning or what I'm going through.
Hmm.
So and some of those learnings just stick with you, and they become internal to you, and you start also sharing that with people you work with eventually. So very simple things, like I remember once very early in my career, just starting work, right? You come from a student kind of a background where you know what you need to do, things are in your control broadly. You come to work life and you realize world doesn't work that way. Lots of things can are out of your control. So one of those early days, going through something which was very frustrating, putting in effort, things are not happening, you keep trying. And on one of those frustrated evenings, I go to my senior and I say, what is happening, when will this end? And he just simply turns to me and says, never. It doesn't end. This is life. The problems will change, but you'll always be solving problems. And it was such a simple advice, but it just puts everything in perspective for me, that instead of getting frustrated by small things that are happening, look at it as the basic quality of life. You are here to face these challenges, to solve these problems. And if anything, the size of problem increases as you progress in your career, as you progress in your life. But if you go in with the right attitude, that I'm not going to get defeated by it today, I'm not waiting for a 100% calm day, I think you can take on any problem and any challenge. So
Yeah.
that's one thing, that very simple statement that stays with me. Another instance, with another senior, I was, we were trying to make something in banking software. We were trying to make a solution, and we had a deadline. You always have deadlines which are too tight, and we are trying to find a patchwork solution. So I was trying to push for a patchwork solution because my objective was to meet the deadline, right? But then my senior told me that don't make it just to meet the deadline. Anything you are creating, just imagine what will it look like in 20 years from now, and if that has to work, will you still be doing what you're doing today? And that, again, very simple question, but that became like a basic question I ask for every problem that I'm trying to solve now, every solution I'm looking at. That it's not, temporary solutions don't work. Temporary patchwork actually creates more issues later. So just because you are in a hurry, don't try to do a shoddy job. So there are a lot of these. I can keep talking.
No, no,
But
that's my aim. I want to keep quiet to make you talk.
yeah,
So, that's interesting. I think it is also connected with the values. Am I right?
yes.
Which, and maybe I just want to explore with you. So for example, uh, what are some instances which people sometimes face in work, which again connect with our own individual values? Do you have any other instances or examples to share? Some thoughts?
No, absolutely. I think all of us going through our professional life face a lot of instances where we have choices to make, and choices in line with our values, in line with our ethics, we are willing to compromise on is a constant it's a constant decision making that you go through. So working in a bank which is a regulated environment,
Yeah.
right, there are a lot of things which are right and wrong, and they are defined. Yeah, so you face a lot of situations where you can still be within the line of the law, but maybe in a gray area in terms of interpretation.
Mm. Mm.
So there you have to make a choice that where do my ethics lie, where do my values lie.
Mm.
Will I do it because it will help me get to my organizational targets, revenue targets, sales targets, etc. faster, or will I let it go because this is not clear to me? I will do it right, even if it means I will have to put in more effort and more work later. So we all face these kind of situations, and like you rightly said, it's about values. So what you need to know, what helps me is articulating my values. So I know that there are these things which are non-negotiable, which I will not compromise on, come what may. So no matter how big the cost, I will stand by this.
Mm.
So articulating those values, knowing yourself, knowing what drives you, and what can impede yourself is what helps there.
My question is, next question is somewhat related, but again, sometimes again in workplace or sometimes in our life in general, we all experiences a stuckness. People feeling stuck in their, um, maybe they are unable to find a new opportunity or so. How can, for example, what would be your advice in those circumstances where people are sometimes having a difficult time, and maybe it is in work or otherwise? What are some things which inspire you in that point of time?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. All of us, go through these times of lull or confusion as well, where you are, from your side, you're putting in all the efforts, but things aren't moving. You feel like you're going through molasses. Life is going in slow motion.
Yeah.
Nothing is working out. Um, I think one of the things that I mentioned earlier, the ikigai part, when you know
Mm.
what you're doing is the right thing, that keeps you pushing through no
Mm.
matter what you're facing. So having that conviction in your path, in or in your objective, definitely helps. The other thing is, and this is not very appreciated, especially with entrepreneurs and startup founders, is having a support system around us. There are times when we are so involved in the problem that we can't see the bigger picture, or we lose perspective. That is the time you need an outside view. It could be your best friend, it could be your parents, it could be your life partner, but somebody who can give you objectivity in a situation when things look bad, and also a fallback and a security system, because we are ultimately social beings, right? We are looking for security, we are looking for sense of belonging. So having that sense of security that things are fine, I can still keep on doing what I'm doing, is also very important and underappreciated, I would say. And see, ultimately, if and when I have found myself in situation like these, one is you just keep going. Sometimes it also helps uh, to just what they say, just drop the balls and pick them one by one. Yeah, so make it simple, simplify it, pick up a small simple problem that you can solve today,
Mm.
and get that sense of achievement, get that dopamine kick, because these positive effects build on each other. And tomorrow pick up a slightly bigger problem and solve that, and then take it one by one. Uh,
That's wonderful to have that growth mindset at a slow pace, one after another, so trying to solve that, pushing the boundaries. So that's interesting. Now, you mentioned that startup ecosystem, and you are in the space were helping and implementing a lot of what we call um, seed funding, especially through BeyondSeed and through other ventures. So, if someone is having an idea in their mind to start up on their own, what are the opportunities and approaches, especially when you, from as an insider, you see?
Mhm. See, I think startup ecosystem, especially in the region that I'm experiencing now, is very dynamic. There's a lot of energy and there's a lot of excitement. It's a brilliant place to be in. So there's a lot of scope of success especially if you are in this region. But the story is the same if you're back in India, for example. Entrepreneurship is finding its day in the light, as they say it. Yep. I think the success factors for somebody who wants to get started on this are again very simple. Find a niche problem, find a problem that's a real problem that you want to solve. Create a solution that is unique and that is efficient, that is not complicated, doesn't make the life more difficult, it makes the life simpler. And then ultimately just execute it efficiently. And in startup world we say that ideas are enough and many. The real metal gets tested of a startup founder is in execution. Because a lot of things and variables can change once the idea hits the ground, hits the real world. So how resilient you are, how responsive you are, how dynamic you are in adapting your solution to the real world problems is what will ultimately define the success. Yeah. And another thing is in terms of, again, the growth mindset that you just mentioned. Be prepared to make small changes every day and see them translate into bigger solution. Don't look at things that happen as issues or problems. They are growth opportunities. Whether you're going through a tough time in terms of fundraising for your company right now, or you're trying to engineer a product which is not working out, you keep trying versions and versions. All of these are giving you opportunities to learn something, to make a better solution. So just keep at it, keep growing into the solution, and follow your passion, because that comes out when you go out and talk to funding companies, you go and talk to partners. People can sense that energy, and you will attract and you will work with people with similar kind of passions and energy if you have it within you. Yeah. There's a very interesting statement from Thomas Edison. He says, I haven't failed 1,000 times, I've just learned 1,000 ways it doesn't work. So, so,
Yeah.
so
So I think
every startup
that's
founder needs to know that.
yeah, I think when it is coming to extraordinary, it is all about extra times we failed, which
Yeah,
makes us move to that territory. So that's interesting. And I know we are time is flying like anything. We already. I have one question which can be considered as to conclude. Looking back on your journey, yes, we are all continuing the journey. What are you most proud of, and what excites you about the future?
wow, very interesting question. So, what am I most proud of? I am most proud of me today. I think I'm the best version of me that I have ever been.
That's
Today,
good.
I have brought myself to this point with a lot of resilience, lot of passion, doing what was always right, never compromising on my key basic fundamental values, and constantly learning. So I'm definitely a much more evolved person, professional, and very consciously so. So that's something that I'm really proud of. Looking forward into the future, see, on the professional front, I'm doing some very exciting work, whether it's on the advisory side or now working with startup founders and helping them materialize their dreams, giving them growth advisory, giving them paths to realize their potential. So that's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to make an impact on multiple levels there through all the people that I work with through the network impact, and create some really interesting solutions out there. Bring these ideas to the world. So that's definitely very exciting, and I can't wait to see what I will be 20 years down the line. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic person. Can't wait to meet her.
Thank you. And based on the learning part which you mentioned, is it, for example, are there some key industry thought leaders or people who you follow or listen to, or what are some sources, whether it is books, or which is uh, still, you mentioned about the Ikigai one. Is there something which you just like, which has influenced you, which you like to share?
No, very interesting. So, Phoebe, I don't think I will be able to mention any specific person that I follow.
Yeah.
I find inspiration in a lot of places. So, thought leaders, as well as the most, the youngest 25-year-old who's trying to set up a company,
Mhm.
for example. I was talking to somebody, 23-year-old young gentleman, and he's got a vision that is larger than life.
Mhm.
The fact
Mhm.
that he can think at that scale is absolutely inspirational to me. So I think uh, learning for me and picking up inspiration for me is all over, and I'm very conscious about every person I speak to. I talk to you. I'm very conscious of learning and picking up things that I'm taking from you. We can't see the audience, but I wish we could talk to the audience, and I would have learned 10 different things from them as well. So no specific names I can name there, uh, but yeah, I read a lot. I try to stay updated in terms of the new ideas that are making dent in the world. I don't listen to podcasts that much. For some reason, I'm not an audio person. So
Okay.
I will see YouTube videos or read the books, and that's where I get my learnings from. Sorry, not very specific an answer for that
No,
one.
no, that's what I learned is, there is something to learn from every person. That is what you are trying to convey, and it is not based on any thought leadership, but people we interact in our regular life, and that is a unique perspective, which again, which is learning from each moment. So thank you for bringing that, Radhika. So, Radhika, it is a pleasure to have this interaction. Audience, I know we couldn't ask you to share questions, but in case you have a question, please share it in the respective chat window. We will come back to you with the answers. And um, thank you for listening to us, watching us in this live session, the from ordinary to extraordinary. Radhika, once again, thank you very much. So we are closing for the day, and we'll see you next week with another guest.